Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech and Auto Show. I'm your host Manav Sinha, and it is so good to see all of you lovely folks once again at this one show which satisfies your hunger for both technology as well as automobiles at one place. Now just like every time, there's a lot of stuff that we have to get to, so let's kick things off by first showing you a glimpse of what you can expect over the course of the next half an hour. This week we'll be going for a drive in a fast Porsche called the Porsche Panamera. Then we'll be talking about the gaming industry and how it's being impacted with global chip shortage. And then we'll go for a flight in an electric Rolls Royce Plane. So there you have it. All of that action will be coming your way. And yes, in case you haven't noticed, I've got this really good-looking Lexus RCF with me today. We are in the process of shooting this review. It will be coming to you very soon. But right now, we're going to talk about a different sports car maker. We're going to talk about Porsche. Now, when you think about Porsche sports cars, well, they are good on performance, but what if you wanted performance with luxury? Well, Porsche Panamera seems to be the answer. Or is it? Well, Arjit Garg has got its hands on the car. Up next, he's finding that out.
When it comes to the German luxury car makers, Porsche has successfully created a niche for itself thanks to the iconic products like the 911. However, in the past decade or so, Porsche decided to diversify its portfolio to reach a wider audience base. And one such product that helped Porsche realize its dreams is with me here today. Meet the Panamera, the only four-seater car in the Porsche portfolio which is not an SUV. Now I will be driving this newly updated car to find out if this is all about practicality or does it hold the same DNA as rest of the Porsche cars. Now in my journalism career, I have met quite a few people who do not like the Panamera's design, and that is quite justified if you see the Porsche as only a maker of the sports luxury cars like the 718 or the 911. But if you see the Porsche in a wider perspective, the Panamera truly stands out in the crowd of the luxury cars thanks to its imposing personality. Now the elements contributing to this personality includes the overall profile with a long bonnet and coupe design with sloping roofline merging into the boot. The large headlight units with large air intakes and bonnet creases add to the charm. At the sides are again large side intakes, 19-inch wheels in the model we drove, and a thick C-pillar integrated into the boot. For me, the rear is the best looking angle with the light strip flowing between the two newly designed LED tail lights and also gets dual chrome exhaust tips. Elements like the soft closed doors and rear functional spoiler further elevates the overall design. Inside the cabin, you are welcomed by a rich-looking design with dual-tone finish. The model we drove had a tan brown leather upholstery and black leather dashboard with piano black stripe running across the dash and the doors. The cabin is bifurcated with a waterfall console design that runs through the back seats and gives it a cockpit-inspired feel. The overall design is neat and easy with a large touchscreen infotainment system taking the center seat and gets an updated Porsche communication management which includes additional functions such as the wireless Apple CarPlay. The display in itself is HD clean and has easy user interface with some really nice graphics. You also get a multi-pod semi-digital instrument panel keeping the things sporty. Some of the buttons on the central console near the gear lever take some time to get used to. I also like the rotary knob placed just besides the steering wheel to alter the driving modes. The chronograph on the top of the dash, as seen in the other Porsche cars, is a nice touch as well. Then there are features like the park assist and the surround view and head-up display, dual sunroof, electronically controlled sunshade among others. There's no push button but a key fob that gives a nice clicking sound when you rotate it. Overall, the cabin is a well-knit combo of luxury and sportiness. Porsche and rear seat riding does not go hand in hand until it's a SUV like the Cayenne or the Macan. But believe me the new Panamera is super practical and comfortable if you ever decide to sit back at the rear seat, which obviously wouldn't be my choice because I like to drive the car myself. But I won't mind taking my friends and family members for a spin in this Porsche because this is the only car where they can sit at the back seat and enjoy the Porsche driving experience. The rear seat also gets controls for the AC, sunshade among others. Interestingly, all 4 seats can be electronically controlled. The space is tremendous at the back while the practicality is also high with many spaces thrown here and there to keep your stuff. The luggage compartment has a wide opening tailgate with folding rear seats. The space depends on what model you choose, but the one we drove had 495-litre capacity. Porsche is offering the new Panamera in 4 variant options, including the one we are driving today, which is the rear-wheel drive standard model having V6 2.9-litre bi-turbo engine producing 330 bhp and 450 Nm of torque. There are also variants like the GTS, the Turbo S and the hybrid version as well. To give you an idea about the rest of the models, the hybrid also gets a 2.9-litre unit with 560 PS and 750 Nm of output. The GTS and the Turbo S models gets 4-litre V8 engines with 480 PS, 620 Nm and 630 PS, 820 Nm output respectively. The model we drove had the least output among the rest of the models, and that you can feel in terms of the exhaust note, which is more refined and not as compared to the other sports cars. However, it is enough to have a semi-sporty drive with a 0 to 100 kmph claimed top speed of 5.6 seconds, which is incredible for a near 2-ton car. The Turbo S can do the same speed in just 3.1 seconds, which is a proper supercar territory. The steering wheel is on the heavier side as per my liking, and being rear wheel drive means you get some added driving fun. You can also increase the chassis height or lower it as per your liking and comes in quite handy for the city driving. I mostly drove the car in the Sport Plus mode, which had a bit stiffer ride quality, but put it in the normal mode and you can get a very plush ride. Braking is incredible for a car of this size and weight. Pricing wise, the Panamera starts at Rs 1.45 crore for the model we drove, while the Panamera GTS is priced at Rs 1.86 crores. The most powerful Panamera, the Turbo S, is priced at Rs 2.12 crores, and the Panamera Turbo S e-hybrid is priced at Rs 2.43 crores. Now, despite being practical and stuff, the new Panamera is a true Porsche at heart, which means you get the same driving fun as the 718 or for that matter as the 911. Yes, it's the second most expensive Porsche in the portfolio, but then buying one puts you in the exclusive club of India, and that is what matters the most if you are putting more than Rs 1.5 crores on your new car.
Now let's move on to the world of technology and let's talk about gaming. Now, usually that's a really exciting topic, yes, but right now we have to talk about something rather serious plaguing the industry. What is it? Well, I'll let Shavik take over.
As individuals across the world moved to a work from home model, a big crisis arrived in the technology world. You see, with us working from home, what we first did was go and buy gadgets that would help us work from home. Subsequently, we started getting bored, so we started buying gadgets that would help us stay entertained from home. As a result, demand surged for devices such as PCs, laptops, smartphones, TVs, tablets, and so on. But in process, during the entire COVID-19 pandemic, chipset factories and manufacturing factories and assembly factories remained shut worldwide for a considerable period of time. Now, this has led to a global chipset supply shortage, which has been further amplified by the United States' tiff with China as a result of the trade ban that was imposed by former US President Donald Trump. Now, All of this combined has led to a supply shortage that has never been seen before in the technology world, in the smartphone chipset world. Not just smartphones, but across the industry, companies such as Intel, AMD, and a whole lot of others, such as Qualcomm itself, have been struggling with the overall supply of chipsets. They have now been struggling to serve companies such as Sony, who's trying to sell the PlayStation 5, and even car makers who now equip their cars with chipsets for smart entertainment services on board their cars. All of this combined has led to a global industry debacle, which is now very difficult to solve since we are running far behind on the chipset production schedule. But exactly what does this mean, and what are its market ramifications? We'll start with the gaming world. You see, Nvidia and AMD have been long-term rivals in the gaming space, specifically the gaming graphics card segment. Now, one of the big things that arrived in the world of news recently is that gaming cards and graphics cards are being wrapped up by bots and crypto miners in efforts to get more profits from Bitcoin and other crypto coins. Now, while that is one segment of the industry that is eating up products available in the market, the chipset supply shortage has contributed heavily to a very difficult position for consumers to get their hands on graphics cards. This has led to heavily bloated market prices. For instance, the Nvidia RTX 2060, which is a pretty competitively priced consumer end graphics card that would have probably sold for around 20,000 rupees in the market, is right now practically unavailable. Even if you get your hands on some of them, a recent search on Amazon India revealed that the only available RTX 2060 cards are now priced at over 48,000, which marks an over 2.5x surplus or surge in pricing in the overall graphics cards prices. Now, AMD is also set to unveil its new generation GPUs, and so is Nvidia, and both of them are vying for the budget PC gaming segment, which is set to see a heavy growth thanks to a big focus on esports in growing markets such as India. However, this growing chipset supply problem has led to a market situation where even though the products are being announced, consumers are simply not getting their hands on these products. Now, moving on to the world of cars. Companies such as General Motors, which markets its cars under the Chevrolet brand, and even others around the world, have reported that they are having to pull back on their car production schedule because the chipsets are simply not available to them. This is leading to longer wait times for consumers in terms of getting their hands on cars which they have already booked, and as a result leading to a stockpile of orders, or even for some car makers leading to a loss of business which they might or might not recover. Now, chipsets form a very important part of the modern cars since they are a part of the infotainment systems and other computers on board cars, which measure a whole bunch of analytics and telemetry. Now, this chipset supply problem is affecting all of these areas, even in an industry which is supposed to be mechanical first in terms of the engineering. On this note, the PC industry finally saw a surge in demand thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic urging people to work from home, and it saw its biggest global growth for the first time in over a decade. However, this growth spurt, which was expected to continue through 2021, now might be cut short because of this chipset supply problem, therefore pulling back on the revenue hopes that Intel and AMD may have projected at around the start of 2021. All of this is also combining to a lack of availability of new generation products such as Intel's latest 11th generation processors, the AMD 5000 series Ryzen processors, and overall lack of supply of new generation laptops in the mid-range and the premium range and the budget range, which was supposed to have flooded the market already. This is sort of leading into a global technology market crisis per se, and as a result of this, it is becoming increasingly difficult for companies to manage demand, and even as demand goes to surge onward, the supply chain still remains a little staggered as the COVID-19 pandemic still continues to have its effect around the world in various countries. This is leading to a problem that is becoming increasingly difficult to solve, not just for chipset manufacturers, but also for multiple industries stitched together, such as gaming, esports, automobile, and even the consumer technology in general. Will this problem see a resolution anytime soon? Well, market analysis states that this is expected to go on at least for the next few quarters until the overall supply chain manages to ramp up production and match the chipset demand. But given the present market condition, even companies like Sony have stated that it is this shortage of chipset supply that is leading to people finding it very difficult to get their hands on products such as the PlayStation 5. On this note, it seems unlikely that the problem will be resolved immediately, and consumers are advised to continue hold patience or wait for the long wait times that are being seen for the products to become available in the market.
Welcome back. You're watching the Tech and Auto Show, and I'm your host Manav Sinha. Now, as we promised before going for the short commercial break, it's time to talk about electric planes. Yes, turns out, as is the future of automobiles called as electric, the future of aviation is also expected to be electric. And Rolls Royce is working on a plane that's supposed to be the fastest electric plane in the world. Well, more details on that up next.
Hello everyone. Setting aside our usual conversations around electric vehicles, we'll today talk about electric planes, and I have with me a very special guest who is leading a team at Rolls Royce to make the world's fastest all-electric aircraft. Matthew Parr, welcome and thanks for talking to News 18.
No, thank you for having me.
Can you tell me more about this electric plane and its specifications?
Yes, so Rolls-Royce is leading a fantastic charge to build the world's fastest electric aircraft. So this is a really unique opportunity where we're taking together state-of-the-art technology, building it into an aircraft, and then going to do something we hope is really inspiring, breaking a world speed record. So the aircraft itself has 500 horsepower power plant at the front. We've got more than 6,000 batteries in our high energy density battery pack, and we've integrated all of that, as I say, into an aircraft to allow us to go break the record and go faster than 300 miles an hour. So we've all seen in the automotive space what electric vehicles can do. In aerospace, we've now got the same trend towards electrification. We wanted in this project to show, hopefully, in a way that's really engaging, where that disruptive technology is and what it can enable.
What was the rationale and the idea behind such an initiative?
So for Rolls-Royce, sustainability and sustainable aviation is key as we look forward. And we do that in three ways. We continue, of course, to invest in the jet engine, as you would expect. We invest in sustainable aviation fuel together with partners. And we're investing in disruptive technologies like electrification to really try and push as far as we can towards our own goals of reaching net zero sustainable aviation by 2050. So this is a really critical project for us to demonstrate our commitment, but also show the world that this is real, this is happening and possible. Now, it's going to take us some time to go from the sort of prototype technology that we have today in our all-electric racing plane to the final sort of air taxis. So we see this around 2025. You'll be absolutely possible to go get in an air taxi and start to fly around cities today. And when we think about just sort of increased congestion that we all have in cities today, we think these are really great opportunities just to start to reduce that and give people alternative routes to travel and ways to travel.
Unlike ground transportation, electric propulsion systems in aviation industry are taking some time to develop. What challenges are you facing?
The big challenges, I think everyone is aware, of course, in electric aviation is mainly around the batteries, it's around the energy density. But what we've found through this activity is there are specific points where this technology is ready to be used, that it's viable. And in particular, you think about the urban air mobility platforms, so these air taxis taking off from the top of one building, landing on another, as well as small trainer aircraft. If you want to learn how to fly, you could learn how to fly in an electric plane today. This electrification of aerospace is really disruptive. and we're seeing lots of new entrants into the market, and in particular, absolutely a lot of new aircraft concepts as well, like these urban air mobility air taxis. Right. So these are a whole new segment that, we go back 10 years ago, we were dreaming about, but nobody was really making. Today, there are an awful lot of companies and some really, really credible companies bringing these solutions to market.
What's the commercial viability of such a project?
So when you look at the markets and where these planes are going to be used, you're really going back to kind of the mega trends of increased urbanization, so people moving into towns and cities. And as we see more of that, then the viability for these new aircraft platforms just increases. So, this is an opportunity to have zero emission flight. This is a way of taking emissions out of the local town or the city where you're flying, and enable you to move around in areas that are becoming increasingly more congested. So if you want to take off from one high-rise building and land on another in the same city, you can do that all electric today. And that's what a lot of companies are working on and bringing that technology forwards. If you want to go a little bit further, if you want to travel 200 miles and you want to do it at 150 miles an hour, then you're more moving into hybrid systems where we take sort of the core gas turbine technology, combine it with a battery and deliver a solution that way. And at Rolls Royce, we're working on kind of the full portfolio across that.
Thank you for talking to News18.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Tech and Auto Show. How did you find the show? Tell us by reaching out to us on Twitter. If it's about technology, reach out to us at News18 Tech. If it's about automobiles, tweet out to us at News18 Auto. And remember, by logging on to news18.com, you can read up more on both these industries as well as the Lexus RCF. That's about all for today. I'll catch you same time next week, only on CNN News 18.